Hey, what's up, Penny? I've never streamed before. Can you hear me okay? Did you comment on one of my videos? My camera's so overexposed. This is nasty. Let me see. Dang. Ontario, got it. Did you see one of my YouTube videos? What's... You hear me loud and clear? That's good. Gosh, exposure. I'm so blown out. Let me see. Saw many of my videos. Cool. Well, feel free to talk. Oh, we have 2 people in here. Who else is here? What's on my mind? Well, I just ordered a giant bucket of KFC. So it's fried chicken night. It's only 8:40 here. My sleep schedule is completely screwed. So I'm about to have a great dinner. Where are you from, Penny? Oh, you said Ontario, that's right. I will enjoy, thank you. Do you have KFC in Canada? Toronto. Okay. I went to Vancouver. I'm in Portland, Oregon, a few hours from Seattle. So I'm about 5 hours south of Vancouver, up in the northwest area. So I know how it is with the weather and such. It's probably not as bad here or as cold here as it gets up there, though. Hey, Cold Bull. Cool, thank you. You know, I kind of amassed some subscribers here, so I'm just trying to say hi to everybody and just check in if you ever got any questions or you want to talk. I really haven't posted enough on YouTube, but I would love to post more. Oregon's beautiful, especially this time of year. I'm more focused on kind of just business right now, making money, getting ahead in life, but it is so beautiful here. I try to get out and enjoy it. Temps are moderate, that's good. Got a little cool here recently. It was like 60 degrees. But it's closer to 80 today. What's your question? Yeah, of course. Sorry, that was loud. No problem. I know that's the majority of what I've posted. It was pretty much just trauma dumping on the internet at first. I'm far more healed from it now because I got out so young. Um, but it seemed like what I did post encouraged a lot of people, so I kind of left it up, even if it were embarrassing. We got 3 viewers now. Who's all here? Just say hi. I'm only here to talk, so this is your chance for a Q&A. But yeah, Penny, go ahead.
Came into contact with.
Who's all here? Yeah, Penny, type it out. To the mayor of my hometown. What would be the benefit to that? What's your logic behind that idea? I know that people are beginning to riot against cults, religious cults, or trying to take legal action, but how would that benefit me? That's my question. Or help others? I see. Well, the thing is, that town I was in, I only lived in for about 6 years, and I would say that I'm pretty self-sufficient. I don't, um, I don't exactly trust community anymore. I think the society is still kind of falling apart. So I just don't really have interest in getting local attention. I travel a lot anyway. I, I don't really like sticking to one town or one place, regardless. I've moved around for most of my life. And just, I don't know, thinking forward of how that award would help me, I'm not really sure how it would maybe get my name out there more, but I'm trying to do that already just by being on the internet. It's crazy because, I don't know, just the internet is changing how everybody lives their lives. When you were my age, that was probably a good idea. Now things are just changing so fast. People don't really pay attention to what the mayor thinks or says anymore. Probably only, probably pretty much only, let's say 40 year olds plus, 50 year olds plus really pay attention to that field at all. I don't know. I'm just a very unique individual. Like, I'm self employed, trying to make my own brand, my own businesses. So I don't really place a lot of value on community. Community of people that I trust and love, sure, but not just people who live near me. People do get disenfranchised, but thankfully I've made real friends. Like, I've left that cult for nearly 4 years now. So I've made a couple of real friends. It is different because you don't have a community. Like, you leave all the friends you grew up with, your parents and whatnot, you leave them all. So you don't have that. Like, I don't have any friends that I grew up with. I don't have siblings that I grew up with. I don't have my family anymore. Um, I don't have the longest person I've known in my life. I've known for 2 years, and that's pretty strange to sit here and say that there's no one in your life that knew you growing up, or that you've known for multiple years. The person I've known the longest just robbed me for 3 grand. It is very difficult to build a family and social network. Yeah, I'm pretty much just thinking of having my own family and being extremely selective with people I choose. I had 3 friends, and 2 of them each just robbed me out of six grand. I'm without a car now, after knowing them for years because people are snakes. So I have one friend, one close friend, physically and mentally out. Got it. Yeah, Cold Bolt, got you. Um, Cold Bolt, I'm going to talk straight to you for a minute. Thanks for the reactions. So, I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I was a regular pioneer. I was the golden role model child. I was on assembly stages. I had a part in a convention. I was baptized at 12. I know everything they believe front to back. I've read the New World Translation front to back. I understand it all. And I know how the community is. It really depends on your living situation, your job. You gotta be able to live on your own, be financially free enough to survive on your own. Um, the shunning has become easier. It was terrible for 1 or 2 years, but the longer you're away, it feels less like you're the problem, and then you start to flip it and realize how brainwashed everybody is. Now, we'd always joke about it, like, people call us brainwashed, they call us a cult, it's so silly. When you're away for 1 or 2 years and you look back, because hindsight is 2020, it's bad. Shunning itself is psychological warfare. Watchtower and Awake articles in the 1920s and such called it a pagan practice only used by specific churches, like Catholic churches. And the more you look back, I mean, I've also met several disfellowship people just in regular life and seen how their lives go to shit, or they become an alcoholic. I met one guy who got disfellowship for stealing a Snickers bar out of a gas station. I met another guy who was disfellowshipped at 16 because he was afraid to go preaching because he didn't understand things well enough and he had anxiety. And their lives are wrecked. And as you start to see more and more of the other side and um, what it looks like as an outsider, what they do to these people, the court cases they lose, as you start to see all of the corruption and failure, and you leave that safety bubble for long enough, you start to hate it. Like, I see actual evil, corruption, deceit, and lies in that bubble that I never would have seen before. So I resent it. I think that my parents have been brainwashed. Everybody who shuns me is essentially brainwashed. And not only brainwashed, they're living in fear. Because what Jehovah's Witnesses do is they capitalize on your fear of death, your fear of loss, your fear of losing your loved ones or not seeing them again. Yeah. And then monetize. So I still believe in God. I believe in a creator. I have the best relationship with God now that I've ever had. I did not feel like my prayers were answered at all growing up. And the last video I made, I was just calling Jehovah's Witnesses a fan club because the thing is, you're not getting close enough to real people to make a direct impact in their lives. You're just in this bubble, this safety bubble of people who think like you. And Jehovah's Witnesses monetize your faith to God to grow their empire. The amount of time that frees up when you stop going to meetings and you study the Bible yourself and you pray more yourself and you focus on, if you have a true need, once you get the appreciation to focus on things that apply to you and your life, that is when you truly begin to grow. You're not being force fed anymore. I don't believe in having a middleman between the creator and yourself. Your relationship should be a friendship, it should be personal. Of course, Jesus could be considered a middleman, but still. You're putting man above God by following this group of men. You're taking their word first, and you're just letting them be an interpreter between yourself and God. And that in itself is a terrible thing, to have that middleman, that interpreter, because they can skew it all. And the thing is, the best lies are 80% truth, 20% lie. And as you begin to recognize the real truths of what is going on, if you have any measure of righteousness or love for God or love for truth in your heart, uh, you will be disgusted by it as much as I am. And yeah, coping with the shunning is really tough. I still stalk my parents. I make sure they're okay. I drive by their house. Um, but as we were taught, because 80% truth, right? As we were taught, a relationship with God comes first. And if that comes first, everything else falls into place. And I can tell you, as much as I've struggled being away, I truly never felt the hand of God in my life like I have now. So, yeah, the time wasted is mind blowing. I'm very glad I got out young, but yeah, I mean, I went down a dark path at first. I was very angry, very resentful, and a lot of evil forces saw that. They saw something they could relate to, like a force that was kicked out of heaven, and they tried to make me their favorite. And I had a lot of terrifying experiences that I didn't know were possible. I've witnessed possession, I have been pulled out of my bed, I've had things thrown at me. And I realized that the forces that were waiting to pounce had really been with me my whole life until I left. I remember going back into a kingdom hall once after leaving, and these dark forces followed me right in. It wasn't God's house that could go right in, right out. And it took me true struggle and true fight to build a relationship with God, a real relationship with God, to cleanse my life from those things that I think have been with me my whole life, my demons. So, yeah, you can't really articulate what's happened. If you get shunned, you just feel hateful at first, resentful, because what do people need when they're hurting? They need love and support. They need a kind direction. Um, if your cousin gets addicted to meth and all we do is kick him onto the street, he's definitely going to keep smoking meth. Yeah, I had a crash course on society, that's for sure. I made plenty of mistakes. My parents were narcissistic, highly controlling, extremely insecure. Love them very much. They had some noticeable problems. My dad did eventually get violent with me because they had no idea how to raise a teenager. I had a strong love of justice in my heart. And as I would call out my dad's behavior, like my dad would demand respect as the head of the house, and then use the scripture to back it up, saying that he was the head of the house, which it was very misogynistic. Um, and I remember I was 16. I stood up to him and I told him, "No, respect is earned. It doesn't matter what title you want to give yourself. You have to earn respect." And that just made him so angry because he was using the Bible to please his ego. Yeah, abuse of power. Exactly. You know that dark force. Yeah. It's very real. I didn't have faith growing up as a witness like I do now because I didn't struggle. I didn't see real world cases. I'm getting goosebumps. I didn't see real world cases of what's really going on. I was just in that safety bubble in the fan club. Did anything I said make sense to you, Lightning? You let me know if you have any more questions. Arrested development. That's an interesting term. Yeah, I can see what you mean. And it's sad. I have met Jehovah's Witnesses in passing. I bought a truck from one couple, and they gave me a finance agreement, and their lives were falling apart. Like they still rented their house. They were in their late 50s, no health insurance. Health was crumbling. Health was falling apart. No savings. No retirement fund. They just wait. They got their eyes on the prize. And when they get old and they have no money and nothing, no success, nothing to fall back on. Well, Cold Bull, I mean, as a man, I think trauma builds us. I think there's a lot of lies out there saying how therapy is so important and such. A lot of therapy is a scam, in my opinion. All they're doing is making you regurgitate any negative things that have happened to you over and over, and then giving you excuses for as to why you might not be progressing as fast as you want. Um, Trauma builds people. Life isn't about what happens to you, it's about how well you react to what happens to you. And trauma builds a man. I was out of the frying pan into the fire, and now I'm stronger than ever. An elder who was raised JW, about my age and your parents' age. Good to listen to. Got it. Go look into it. Hey, DJ. I'm glad I got out at 18 too. Yeah, I try to be a bit of an activist. I didn't expect to get so much attention for just dumping my feelings on the internet and my story, but I guess I've learned a decent amount. I'm just trying to make use. Just, I don't know, just help people if I can. You're 24, you're still at home with your folks, not financially stable, desperate to get out. Yes, definitely. I think my food just got delivered. 1 second. Thank you. I'm in my PJs. Don't mind me. But I just got massive KFC dinner. So this might be a fried chicken and activists escape the cold discussion kind of night. I think my Instagram's in my bio in my channel, but I'm Logan Nobles. You can just search me up. Astral Arcane, Mystery from the Stars. You're 24, still home with your folks, not financially stable yet. Do you have a job? I would just save up as much as you can. Chickens here. Have you tried DoorDash? I've made 2 or 3 grand in a month just DoorDashing. That is a complication. Let me tell you though, relationships right when you get out, no, it's a bad idea. I got married for a year. Got in a 6-month relationship after that. I was still healing. It took me 3 years to heal. I'm finally healed enough now to be in a relationship. Yeah, I got forced into baptism pretty much when I was 12, so I get it. The elders didn't really believe that I was ready. My parents made me memorize all the questions, and I commented a lot, so they allowed it. But there's just so much misjudgment because this religion is run by men. We want to think that like the governing body get their direction straight from God when they don't. We want to think that the elders have a close relationship with God, and they don't. They usually just have power play issues. Well, you should see how she feels about it deep down. Maybe get to know her well. I will say, like, everybody's just a bunch of hoes out here. Finding a good Christian woman who hasn't been ran through and has standards and was raised right is very difficult. But at the same time, I was trying to date Jehovah's Witness girls as I was leaving, and they ended up having worse attitudes and worse mental issues and personal instabilities than some of the women I've met in the regular world. So my camera's so overexposed. I'm just looking crazy. What is wrong with this thing? I guess it's too far away from my face to expose correctly. Oh well. I'm gonna have to look like a glowing, angelic being for this discussion while I eat KFC. It's impossible to date. It's really difficult to date. That's for damn sure. A lot of couples just had sex and then they get married so they don't have to get this fellowship. We gotta save up whatever you can. Try to choose a career you enjoy. Thanks for the likes, guys. There's some beautiful Jehovah's Witness women because of it's so strict that they take excellent care of themselves, but the mental stability and they're making you hungry. Sorry, the mental stability, the perspective on the world could be toxic. If they're also like PMO, physically and mentally out, go for it. just like maintain the image, but live a normal life. I do keep hearing about him. A lot of people are commenting about him. I'll look into it. Maybe I'll go on his podcast someday. No, this getting this fellowship truly showed me how selfish my parents were because they actually just gave up and would rather pretend that they never had a child. I'm pretty sure. They've blocked me everywhere. And as many amazing real experiences as I've had, like leaving my body, near-death experiences, clear evidence of tax fraud and corruption within the JWs, they'd rather just assume that I'm a hedonist, delusional, and justifying my behavior. I think the protest in Washington could be really cool. I don't know how big it's going to be. I haven't looked into it enough yet, but if it does turn out to be big, I'll be excited to hear that. I don't know if I have the money or the time to join. Yeah, don't get baptized. Exactly. I've considered getting reinstated and then becoming inactive just so that they don't have that man-made barrier. I'm still thinking about it, but after what I've learned about this cult and how much shit they do to ruin people's lives, I also don't want to support it at the same time. So that is a decision I'm still trying to make. Yeah, I don't really engage in apostate behavior. I'm not some evil person. I just like call out facts. Like I'm a realist. Like you lose all of these court cases, you have all of these legal problems, you have all of this abuse, all of these lives are ruined. There's all of these misinterpretations in your Bible. There's this and this and this and this that you've hidden. At a certain point, it's like they look just as bad as every other religion. But you're programmed to be biased, and it takes like a couple of years to remove that bias from your head. Literally. Yeah, that'd be cool. I hope I get to see some video of the protest. Well, View, that's where you're wrong. God is very real, and the devil is very real. And if you don't know that now, you're going to find out once you leave. So this is your chance to actually learn who God is. Just be on your own. Come to your own conclusions, and you will. I did the same for a while, but I learned. Because the further away from God I got, the more evil I saw, until I saw real, spiritual evil beings. And Newton's law, every force must have an equal and opposite force. Don't give up on God for something that a human did to you. It's not his fault. Life isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you react. devil is very real. It's very, very obvious to see. I can't explain to you why God doesn't have a direct hand in our lives, but He has in mine at my lowest. Not letting us go through more than we can tolerate is very true. I thought I had a relationship with God growing up, and I didn't. Now I'm starting to, and it's a very difficult relationship to build. And you don't need to go back and say you can start your relationship with God only once you leave. Or maybe God will recognize your value, see your heart condition, and try to help pull you out. I know I'm young, Penny, but I can relate. I had a couple extreme spiritual attacks, and I was privileged enough to see angels come in and help me, and I will never forget it. And I felt the power of God and what it feels like, just this unconditional, strong force of love. And you feel incredibly powerful in its presence, not out of ego, but because it's simply the strongest force. I respect how Muslims fear God so much, and their religion and their countries actively play out laws that align with the religion. People just have a strong respect for it. There's no other country that fears God like Muslim countries do, but they're not perfect either. It doesn't work anymore. How has it changed? What have you noticed? I might have to reply to this message. 1 second. Let me read your messages in a sec. Where my chicken at? You haven't gone out since the pandemic was over. Letter writing, 1 hour a month. Just do the bare minimum necessary. It's like school. It's all filler anyway. It's misdirection. I actually have a good friend in Virginia I might have to visit. Thank you, Penny. Thanks for dropping in. You're the first viewer. I've never done live before, but I just wanted to say hi to everybody while I eat dinner. So we have 4 viewers. Who else is here? We got DJ, Debu, and Lightning, right? I'm a messy eater, don't judge me. Toodles. I understand the flirting part. That's how it is. Conventions are just a flirt fest. Everybody's trying to get hitched. A lot of them are. Why do you think all the child abusers have been elders? I hear that all the time. Yeah, they really stuffed this bag full of napkins. They knew I was going to need them. I've made fast food workers drop whatever they were working on when I use my full voice. You're still questioning if there is a God or not. Yeah. Active force. I've been getting back to reading the Bible too. Bew, you playboy motherfucker. Why do I like how you think? Alright. There's definitely a God. Something put us here. But I think the truth is far stranger than fiction. Aliens could be real. I definitely don't think out of an infinite universe that we could be alone. Out of our own galaxy. I heard this, I forget the term, but basically, the amount of our own galaxy that we've explored for aliens or looked at closely enough to see signs of life is equal to 1 12-ounce glass out of the ocean of Earth. In our galaxy, UFO sightings are skyrocketing. Like, I think the aliens are messing with things. They have been behind the scenes. I think that there is a source of all life. I think that there may be many gods of sorts, many spiritual beings that are on just a consciousness level or a transdimensional level. They're not physical on our plane, but they exist on many other planes. I've seen them myself, and would classify some as demons, but other ones seem completely different, like potentially alien. So, sorry, I'm trying to sell something on OfferUp. This guy's trying to come right now, I think. Y'all are silly, especially you. You don't need to get a woman pregnant to leave. Just get someone else pregnant. Oh yeah, that constant fear. Definitely. Yeah. Everybody feels it. Everybody. You're living in fear. You don't know if you're going to make it. Everybody around you is going to die. No, I don't want to believe that everybody on earth is going to die except for this little group of people. What was the whole point of Jesus opening up worship to the Gentiles, people other than the Jews? It was so there can no longer be a chosen group of people to serve God. I think that anybody could build a relationship with the Creator. Have y'all heard that Jehovah, I don't even like using the word Jehovah anymore because it may actually be a Luciferian term for Lucifer. And some deep research I've done, it's also just a heavy mistranslation in the first place. Serious mistranslation. Go for it, yeah. Sorry, I'm probably making you starve. My camera is doing so poorly. Let's try this. It's kind of better. I know I'm just eating fried chicken while talking to y'all. How's it going, Nyama? Douglas. That is a good point. I got myself this fellowship to get away from my parents' abuse. Literally, I found it out. Because I was trying to kill myself and my mental health was shit, so. Which doesn't make sense, right? You think if you're doing so well in a religion, you'd be really happy. Wasn't the case. Doesn't line up. Happy to. Whatever questions y'all got, I will answer them. What else you got for me? Brainstorm something. Keep me entertained. Help me help you. Let me know. What do you got? What can you think of? Let's talk. Let's talk about it. While I devour my KFC. What else do I get? One more biscuit. So I ordered a giant bucket of KFC for $30, and I'm gonna eat this for like 3 meals. So Zelda or World of Warcraft, or Zelda World of Warcraft? What's your question? You're asking me to pick one over the other? Or are you saying there's a version of Zelda World of Warcraft? I'll be honest, I've never played World of Warcraft, but I was a Zelda fanboy growing up. I'm assuming that's just what was on your mind. I've played most of the Zelda games. Who's all here, everybody? We got 4 watchers. Say hi, don't be shy. Or your mom wouldn't allow it? How old are you? Those games aren't even bad, that's the thing. Hi, Lord. 1 second. I've been devouring KFC. I'm a mess. I'm doing great. I posted a lot of those videos when I was still just really feeling through the feels. Most of the time, I'm very optimistic. And I only left them up because they seem to help a lot of people. So. And my name is Logan. I'm Jordan. I appreciate it. 25. Damn, dude. Being an adult since you're 18 was hard, but worth it. Yeah. The word Jehovah is so weird, the history of it. Has absolutely nothing to do with truth at all. It's literally just made up. Well, I'm lucky because I left so young. And I was also kind of living a lie for a while. I didn't really fully believe it. I just kind of tried to please the system to make my parents happy. But I still questioned it. I'm 21. But I went through a lot very young because of this. So it's matured me very quickly. My best friend is 34. It's been 3.5 years. I'd say that I'm like 95% worked through it. 99 even. I feel great. But I'm trying to support others because it hits everybody differently. I'm lucky that it only took me a few years. You're getting older, yeah, better make use of your life ASAP. My parents wanted me to be a stay-at-home child, help me pick my wife, never leave the house, help them. Because I was an only child too, so the pressure was on. They wanted me to be a man child, basically. I think a lot of people did wake up during the pandemic, and it's a really good thing. That was a lot of food all at once. Yeah, I had to be the perfect child for sure. Only child, perfect child. The pressure was too much. I snapped. I even briefly talked to a couple I knew in my congregation years after I left, and they kind of gave me the impression that everybody just kind of thought that I snapped under pressure, which makes sense. I think people actually look down on my parents for putting so much pressure on me. And they kind of just have an isolated life. I drove by their house after a meeting and they had gone home pretty early and they were just inside with all the lights off, curtains closed. It is nice and isolated life, for sure. Anything else y'all want to talk about? Let's see, I've been on for an hour now. There is so much more. It's amazing. It was definitely a little sad, miserable safety bubble. I have. I'm pretty comfortable being alone these days. I got a couple friends. I'm sure it's very late in Florida. I was just in Tampa briefly, in St. Petersburg. I'm back on the West Coast now. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate it. Nice. Yeah, Florida's its own whole world, really. It's a very interesting place. I lived in Orlando for about a year. And Miami briefly, but that was an adventure. Alright, oh well. I gotta clean up my room a bit. I'm also feeling tired. I know it's late. I had never gone live on YouTube. I just wanted to see kind of who joined. Say hi to everybody. Maybe I'll stream again. I definitely will be every few days or so. And I'll try again on Saturday. There'll probably be more people online. But really just talking to everybody, sharing stories. Thanks, Lori. Glad you were happen to be on YouTube. Hope you all have a good night.